Well, let's now bring in Nader Hashemi. He's the director of the Center for Middle East Studies at the University of Denver. He joins us now from there. Nader, the reopening of this border crossing is really quite the gain for President Assad. What is behind Jordan's thinking here?
Well, I think Jordan is facing a set of social problems, economic problems that apply to many countries across the region. High unemployment, domestic discontent, and so it's hoping to, alleviate some of its internal domestic challenges by reestablishing trade relations with Syria. Prior to the breaking of relations, there was roughly $1 billion in cross-border trade that both countries were benefiting from. So I think that's a big incentive that explains news from the Jordanian-Syrian border today.
Sure. Well, Jordan is also a U.S. ally, and this does appear to weaken the power of U.S. sanctions. How is all this being viewed in Washington?
Well, I think Washington is in a state of chaos, as most people, I think, can discern. Washington is very much of the view that it wants to remove itself from the region. The events in Afghanistan over the last month clearly indicate that, and this has had a ripple effect in terms of forcing states in the Middle East to reassess their own policies in the region. So we're effectively seeing, I think, primarily as a result of, the U.S. withdrawal from the Middle East, countries in the region reassessing their own interests, old enemies establishing relations with each other. Although, gradually we saw this a couple of years ago when tensions between Saudi Arabia and Qatar started to wither away and the blockade was lifted. We're seeing it in terms of a dialogue between, Iran and Saudi Arabia. So all of these things are, connected, I think, to these regional realignments. But I think the big event was the one that I just indicated, the Biden administration's decision to pull out of the region, forcing other countries to recalibrate how they are pursuing their international relations.
Well, given these shifting regional dynamics, I'm curious about how they're actually playing into their relationships with President Assad. I know a number of countries other than Jordan are potentially keen also to revive economic ties.
That's true. So Assad is sort of the last, I think, country here that's going to be affected by these regional alignments. I think one sort of motive here is that some of the Arab states are hoping to lure Assad away from Iran. Assad, of course, stands to benefit because his country is in deep ruins, so it hopes to benefit from, investment, economic relations with other Arab states that are more wealthy. So a lot of this remains to be seen, but I think it's what we're witnessing right here is sort of the new dawning of a new era in the Middle East, where the convulsions of the Arab Spring that rocked the region 10 years ago are now sort of receding into the past, and a new regional alignment is taking place. Fundamentally, I think, at the core of this is really a regional realignment of, authoritarian regimes who sort of see their interests converging together at the expense of, I think, social protest movements, pro-democracy movements, who I think are the big losers here. I think the other big loser here, of course, is first and foremost the people of Syria, who unfortunately are going to have to withstand several more years of Assad's, brutal rule without any, alleviation or, hope for the future.
Nader Hashemi there, the director of the Center for Middle East Studies at the University of Denver. Great to get your thoughts and expertise on Al Jazeera. Thanks for joining us, Nader.
Thank you.